The way you make love, sweet darling. That ain't the way you make love. You've been turning around uptown with some fancy clown, with some fancy clown. You've been turning around uptown with some fancy clown, with some fancy clown. I hear you in the background.
One of the unusual things about this group is that each guy in the group can lead. Any guy in the group can do it.
Straight out the Ville. It's the BackAlley Fellas Podcast.
They said we could never make it. They said
Billy got it bumping. In the back alley. Taking shots of whiskey and only go.
Yo, peace and blessings. What's going on, family?
Couple of people.
Yo. Welcome.
Here, bro?
I can't complain. Welcome everybody to the BackAlley Fella Podcast. We're so happy that you tuning in. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's great to be back, and I'm with two of the best people in the world. My friends, my family. I got Big Pat, the elder, and Brother Six. What's
up,
going
MD?
on? I can't call it, brother. I cannot call it.
You once again,
How y'all fellas doing today?
Doing all right. Big
I'm
T.
good, bro. I'm good.
How
I
you
heard you
doing?
got good news. Some good things going on this Friday. So congratulations to you.
Bless, man, yeah.
And
man.
that's wonderful. Six,
Congratulations.
I wanted to ask you real quick, how's your son adjusting in college?
He's adjusting well, man. They had that COVID and somebody tested positive, so it caused the school to kind of go in a different direction than what he was thinking. But he's adjusting well, man.
Good.
He's doing his work. He's doing his homework. So he was quarantined 14 days, but he's back at it. So he tested negative. So that was a good thing. So everything is well. How you doing, brother?
I'm maintaining, bro. Yeah, we had some. Oh man, I had an interesting weekend. Oh boy, listen. I would have my wife come in and clown me, but I'm not gonna do it. But let's just say that I had a little I went to this black artist event. It's called Gang Culture. It's 18 black artists. They put on a function and had several artists that were all, I think, from Indiana or Indianapolis or whatever, that they moved away, and they had art ranged from $200 to $300 to like $50,000, $60,000. It's a great event, wonderful event. Indianapolis definitely needed it. It was great, but they got this thing. It's a black-owned CBD place that owns and does the bath bombs and all the different things. And they have a thing called Butter. So the event itself was called Butter, but but they have this butter at this thing, and they were one of the vendors, and they and so it's a hemp type of thing with like 0.3% or less THC or whatever in there.
Yeah.
So they had an infused strawberry mojito tea, like so it was non-alcoholic, but they had that butter in there. Bruh. That mud hit me. I felt like a Smokey in that chicken coop, boy. I said, this is ridiculous, man. I ain't like woo. That's all I'm gonna say, man. That was quite funny. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, Pat, how you doing? You doing well, bro?
Yeah, man. I'm doing great. You know, the P&J's is doing well.
Yes.
Family's doing well.
Talk to them about that P&J's, man. Where you located at? For those that might be in that South Carolina area, can you tell them a little bit about P&J's and where you at?
So P&J's is an idea that me and my brother William and my wife Jessica came up with, and it's a new take on barbecue. It's a healthier take. We use mostly turkey products instead of beef or pork. We have turkey ribs, turkey wings, and we have a new sandwich now that's called the Jive Turkey. And it's apple smoked turkey shredded with barbecue sauce, onions, and some slaw. And
okay.
It's a sandwich. We're located right now at 158 B Langford Road in Blythewood, South Carolina. So come and check us out. You know, we're doing big things.
Good.
If you in that Carolina area, that North Carolina, because I've been there, that Charlotte, it ain't that far to get to where that's at. If you in that South Carolina, that Blythewood area, come check my boys out, man. I'm telling you, the food is delicious. Last time I stopped in, I had those smoked wings that evening, and I was like, I was trying to bite my fingers off. You know what I mean? So it's definitely good. They put their foot in it. And I'm happy. I'm proud of y'all brothers, and you know, continue success on that. So with that, man, you know what I'm saying? Again, we like to thank everybody. This is your first time or your last time. We definitely appreciate it. If you continue to rock with us, we always appreciate that. Continue to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the comment button, and just continue to grow with us, rock with us. And then, as we would say, Six, what we say, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to join in to this beautiful mosaic
Tell somebody
that we call the Back Alley Fellas podcast. So with that, you know, the ritual that we do, we want to know what's in your drink. So please send that. So I'm gonna pass it around. Brother Six, what do you have in your drink, bro?
Right now, man, I had earlier, I was the University of Louisville games up, prop to the city of Louisville. And all the people, one time the Fat Blood and family, man. I love y'all, man. In the cup tonight, I got some Green Farm. It's a smoothie drink consisting of apple, pear, pineapple, mango. And it's good, man. I'm drinking this, and it's not only is it good to you, it's good for you.
Hey, look
Pat,
at
what you drinking?
What you drinking, Pat?
I'm back to the basics for the last few weeks. Coffee and Coke. They say you can't have no party if you ain't got no Bacardi.
Listen, if there's a Bacardi rep that's tuning in, you need to sponsor the Back Alley Fellas podcast, because Big Pat alone keeps y'all in business. I promise you. Hey, for me, I have a little I got a little granny's tea, you know, just a little smidget. You know, I got some sweet tea because my other teas sold out all over for whatever reason. So I done changed up a little bit, but it still consists of some good things. And I ain't gonna give them a shout out until somebody hit me up and say, hey, we'd like to sponsor you, but you know who you are. So if we can, man, let's do our libations and let's get this thing started.
Listen, you watch, hold your cup up and let's do this. Bottles, glasses, cups that are plastic. Alleyways backwards, perfection takes practice. Friendship turns kinship. 2/3 of the street dynastic.
Brotherhood from the neighborhood. This podcast is going to be a classic. Divine state of mind, our subject, some line. Brother, on the rocks, give me something strong.
A mixer, a slice of lime. Put your drink up. Now let's link up. It's nothing but love in this atmosphere. Peace, salutations, brothers and sisters, the fellas. We in here. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
All right. Time to set it off. You gotta set it off. What we got? What we got?
What we looking at?
You know, in the back alley, there was talk about whether or not rap music or the industry or entertainment industry, not just rap music, the entertainment industry has influenced our youth negatively or positively.
Okay, let's tackle that.
It's a deep conversation for the alley. Walk with me. Walk 6. Talk to me. Talk to us.
You know, that's very interesting because I do think, you know, I'm over the age of a century. I'm 51 years young, and I've heard and I've seen a lot of music, and I myself at this age still love rap music. So I'm gonna say yes, I have seen a change. I've seen a change, particularly in the youth and what they're making today compared to what we came up on, and it's quite different. But I do say this, and I'll pass it on, and I'll ask Brother Pat, what does he think? I think that the industry is controlled by a bigger system, and that we're in the position that we're in now when it comes to entertainment and music, because of those who do control it. They have complete control over what comes out, which causes a trend to go in the way they want it to. What do you think about that, Tom?
I think you're right, but first, for all the listeners, my brother is half a century, not a century old. So I don't want to get that.
Oh, well, thank you, brother.
He's half a century old, but you know, I agree, and you know, there's a lot of things out there. People talk about the Illuminati and all of these rituals that these people supposed to go through, and I don't know about any of that here nor there. But what I do know is we can't just say it's this group of youth here, because as I've looked at, let's say for instance, just one genre, as I looked at hip hop music from, you know, its inception, because I remember when it started. Matter of fact, what was the first rap song for you two brothers? Let's see. I know I'm off subject, but I want to see. I'm gonna tell y'all something for you all that are watching. These two brothers right here listen to more hip hop at the age of 50 than I've ever seen in my life. And I'm gonna get them on this one. What was the first rap song?
The first rap song, or the first rap song that I listened to?
No, the first rap song that came out, published on wax.
You remember it, Mike?
Do you remember it?
I think I do. I'm not for sure. I don't think.
So
you go first then. Do you go first then, Brother Six?
Was it Sugar Hill Gang?
That's the one everybody says. Nope. I wish I had a little buzzer.
No, that's
you know what? To tell you the truth, it's a great guess, because that's the one most people say.
But I want to say that it's something. Was it something with I don't know why I want to say with Rudy Ray Moore or something like that, but
it goes further back than that. If you're getting that deep, because it was actually a word speaking spoken word.
I don't know if it would be somebody from the Last Poets or something like that, but no. So who is it, Pat?
It was the Fatback Band, King Tim III. The first one that came out. That was, well, and actually you all both are right. Prior to that, there were some comedians and stuff that did what was considered rap. They kind of talked their jokes. Rudy Ray Moore was one of them, but I'm talking about classified as like hip hop rap.
Oh, okay. Well,
you know, it's by the Fatback Band.
You know, it does go further back than that, because I was watching an episode on these three brothers that were actually singers back in the 20s.
Yeah.
20s. You remember
but I'm
that?
talking about modern day hip hop is what.
Okay. I got you.
Most people think it was the Sugar Hill Gang, but look it up when you get a chance. It's called the Fatback Band. It was called King Tim III.
Okay.
So the point I'm making is we're quick to say, because this music is different than ours. There's no doubt that these younger people's music is different than ours. So we like to try to point the finger at them because now we're older. But the truth is, it's been people, whether it's hip hop, whether it's rock, whatever it is, it's been people taking the words, the songs, and it's been influencing them. They say the whole Helter Skelter Charlie Manson stuff was based on a song.
Beach Boys.
Yeah, a Beach Boys song. So I do believe that the industry influences kids negatively. But on the same token, I think that there are some positive aspects of it too. But for some reason, the negative aspects are always more light than the positives.
So I would agree, and I want us to, to make sure that we get in this conversation because we typically sometimes kind of listen to one another instead of having that dialogue. But I would agree with both of you if we're going to strictly just say, do they influence in a negative fashion? And it's difficult for me because when you let out with hip hop, because I love hip hop so much, I'm that from 71, from the date of my birth all the way to now. I'm that. I have no qualms about saying that. I told you before, I love boom bap. That's what I move towards more than anything else. And they will label it conscious rap or the genres. And that's the industry came up with the genres. The industry makes those types of things, whether it's pop, whether it's conscious, whether it's gangster rap, whether it's R&B, whether it's neo soul, whether it's whatever. They put those things, constructions, and then do those things like that. But I can't lie and say that I remember times in it, going out in the clubs, having being a little inebriated, intoxicated, and you hear some music, and depending upon how you felt and the energy, that music used to set some shit. Like, I remember being in Korea, stationed in Korea, and I told you about the boxing ring. I remember cats that we in the same military, some representing different sides of the thing. You know what I mean? And I can remember songs coming on, and the song itself cranks energy up that cats just starts throwing signs. Now we in the same military. If North Korea with a pop smoke on us that evening, we was gonna have to forget everything we supposed to do to fight against them to try to stay alive. And yet, I mean, we was actually we was not too far from the DNZ, so that North Korea and South Korea, they still technically at war.
Yeah.
And yet we was in a spot where when the music came on, cats was ready to get busy against each other. So I've seen it. I felt it. You know what I mean? You feel that energy. So, and then, sometimes what people say, people believe that they got to live it. And we had, and so, for me, I've always enjoyed it. I'm right now, I'm just tuning into the music, and y'all please stop me at any point in time and say what you got to say. But I'm a person that likes to deal with the wordplay, so double entendres and things of that nature, and I would just say the double entendre is like it's a word phrase that it has two interpretations. So you can have double entendres, triple entendres, and it's difficult as an MC. And so the greater the skill you are, the better that that you're able to use those metaphors, similes, double entendres. And then so there was a joint that Lotus Lux did on Funkmaster Flex where he said they still want that Loaded Lux with the great hoodie. I'm like, that's why they're under a high bridge, I could boogie. Now, if you think about, what they call those little things in the water, they call those things in the water in the ocean like a boogie, right?
Right.
So he was saying under a high bridge, I could boogie. But then you also got to understand that he said, that's why they're under a high bridge, I could boogie. High bridge is where the rapper A Boogie is from in Brooklyn. So that's 2 or 3 different meanings in one sentence. But you got to know, and you got to be smart. That's the one thing that we miss. So, you can use it and you can enlighten people, or you can be slick with your words, or you could just be on some, I'm a rider around this corner, I'm a killer, and you be like, what's the nutritional value of that song right there, other than you about to ride on somebody and kill them. So I don't know.
There's young cats that actually do that.
Exactly.
So you mix alcohol, drugs, and then you hear a song that says, hey, You know, I'm never without my hitter, and I'm gonna ride around the corner, and I'm gonna blow your head off, and your mama head off, and your kid head off. All
That's
of
your
this,
ops, you know.
then things happen. So indirectly, I do believe that it influences us in a negative manner. And you know, I read one time someone said a statement that said rich people or rappers send their kids to private school while their music sends ours to the morgue and to prison. And that makes me think, because it doesn't
That's real.
what would you go? I don't think it directly does, but I that
I get the
a lot of people.
Well, yeah, you're right, Pat. You're right. But I want to ask you this, because what I find interesting about this conversation is that I think that any of us, and you know how we are in our clique, and just in general, the Black culture in particular, we will throw a quote out from a movie like no other.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You want a piece of me?
I do.
You know where that comes from. You know what I'm saying? Ezekiel, what you doing behind the bushes? So what I'm saying is that form of entertainment is something that influences us as well. However, we typically never hear the argument that movies itself influence us to do negative, when we know that most of the time we can quote those movies and they hold on to us, and they define us in many ways.
Movies desensitize us.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. Go ahead, Six.
You watch something like Friday the 13th, and you see somebody getting their head chopped out. It's like normal to us now. So it desensitizes us as a people, because if you think about it, somebody listens. What a lot of people fail to understand, and it's not everybody. We got to, you know, the whole group. But you know, and there's a few that make the thought process true. So you might have, and I'm just going to use some arbitrary numbers just for patient's sake. So let's say there's 200 rappers, and 189 of them are rapping about 180 of them are rapping about killing and murder, and then you got 20, 25 that are conscious rappers. I'm just throwing some numbers out for conversation's sake. Well, most of the ones of that 180 are talking about something they either saw or did or just heard about.
Right.
But there's a group of kids that be like, oh, that's what I want to do, a group of people. And then you got that one or two that are still out. You had and I think he was a great brother, but you had Tupac still running around like you're a millionaire now. You still running around here fighting.
Yeah.
You got to put it down, the whole thing with Yellow Beezy and Mo 3 and all that. So these are far and few in between, but it supports the theory that, hey, these rappers are still living like this when the majority not. The majority are telling a story of the hood or what they saw or what.
Six, you better jump in.
I was just saying, earlier at the beginning that, I think that the industry and those who control it has a lot to do with that, man, because back in the day when we was listening to conscious music, we listened to conscious music, they allowed that. They didn't have no choice. We had a word, and it made people, it was a movement with the music, Public Enemy, and some of those conscious rappers that said something that meant something that made you feel a certain kind of way. I'm saying that the industry somehow was like, hey, there's too much power going on through the music. And, as Black people, music to us is universal. It's a frequency that puts us on a high that no one understands other than us. And when they realize that, hey, if we can control the music and what they put out and what they're listening to, man, we can control everybody just by the sound.
But to tell you the truth, though, brothers, it's all connected. If you go, when I first went to college at Murray State, I majored in advertising, and it's you still see it today. You go to most of the urban areas, they're gonna have fried chicken commercials, beer, and liquor stores on every corner selling 40 ounces. You go out to the suburbs, they ain't got that stuff.
Yeah.
How's that? So they're creating the commercials, what we see, but
what we wear, all of that.
But now so I agree with that. It's especially when you're talking about food, clothing, and shelter, and people just trying to live.
Yeah.
And so some things is up. But I want to ask y'all this question though, because I don't disagree with anything that you said. But I wonder this. I wonder why if I pull 6 of yourself, one of your sons out, and they were able to play, they got a role in a movie. Let's say they did a Wire 2, or they did something about they say they did a Village West, take it to Louisville or something. They did something that represented the Louisville, whatever, at some point in time. As an actor, doing that role, once that actor was done, nobody is expecting that actor or actress to continue that role.
Right.
The rest of their life. But in rap, especially, in hip hop, especially, the art of storytelling, in them being griots, them being poets, being able to tell the story.
Being what? Griot.
A griot. Like, it's an old ancient like storyteller. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying something.
I know what it is.
All right.
I'm gonna be honest, I've just never used it in a sentence. I know it, and I've just never. Not only have
I've never heard it.
Folks, he always clowns me with a word or something. You know what I mean? So
I've never heard it. So I figure.
But at the same, you stupid.
I'm sorry.
You stupid. But at the same time, why do we ask our hip hop artists to live out what they are talking about, whereas in any other form of entertainment, we don't ask of that? And this is and so in many ways we have to ask ourselves in this keeping it real society, like if you were skilled enough to tell a detailed story about the hood in which people could feel it and can talk about things that maybe happened or didn't happen, but you can put it in such a way that everyone can feel it, and you can tell that story and then get to a point of expressing the downfalls, the pitfalls of those things, or rejoicing in something good happening. Why do we discount it if you never lived that? Why do we say that you gotta actually live that? Like you actually had to sell keys in order to say this, in order to do like why do we insist that our young people engage in violent, destructive behavior in order to stand on something that they can then say, hey, look at me, I want to be an entertainer now? Why can't they just go tell the story?
And then
are we emphasizing on actual research, or are we engaging in pure pontification with no research whatsoever?
As far as what you talking about? You said pontification.
So in the same breath, with that, on our expectations of rappers and the game itself, I'm going to say on the influence part, look at some of the stuff that they do use, and then we expect them to live. Look at some of the words they use about our Black women.
Yeah, and it's
so,
okay.
So
and you think about it. But let me ask you, brothers, this though, before you finish that, Brother Sig. Do you think it falls back on us as a community?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because we support it. I'm supporting.
Yeah. The reason I say that is because, and for some reason I cannot get this picture out of my head. But I was scrolling through Facebook one time and I saw this picture, and it said, "We came from this to this," and it showed three little young brothers in the 20s or the 30s, and they sharp on. And then flip picture, these same about age group dudes, they had their pants hanging all the way down, you know, they had cocktails dudes. So it said we came from this to this. So my thought is, back in those days, there was still drugs and all that, but they was always in one little area, and they couldn't get out from that area. If you wanted drugs and alcohol and prostitution and all that, you knew where to go because it was only one or two streets. But the reason was because the people wouldn't let that grow. And they were the Muslims and the Masons and the
moms and dads.
Well, Pat, to touch on that, the reason why, and we might be expounding our conversation a little bit, but since you went there, the reason why I think that is because once you were able to, so there were a couple of different things. Once, you know, we kind of gravitated a part of our construct, our family social construct, went into, you know, the feminist movement, the women's movement, which really didn't have anything to do with, in my opinion, Black women as much. And then the separation. And there's people that kind of have done some research, so I'm not going to really touch on that because I'm not as learned on that. But I would say that as our communities, as we begin to leave the neighborhoods and go out into the suburbs, and then we leave behind. So it used to be that you had white collar and blue collar all in the same vicinity, which you would see. So if you were working, you still were, you went to the Black doctors, you went to the Black dentists, and the money circulated. They all went to the same churches. They knew one another. You knew the business owners, and so it was okay. But everyone kind of knew, and there was a community. The neighborhood was a neighborhood. As we continue to spread out, now you leave only a few that's in there. That's of one social economic background. So diversity is more than just Black, white, gender, and all that. It's also social economic background. So when you take one out and you leave another one in, then all they may know is this, that, and the third. And so the dress, then you put crack and drugs into the community. You throw guns, all kind of guns into the community, and then you're able to arrest, you know, Black men, you know, and this has been ongoing, and then they go to jail, and then they come out, and those things that were prevalent in the jail now become, and then the young people don't have OGs now.
I know.
So they raising themselves. They raising themselves.
At some point in time, our own community should have kicked in. So when you see little Johnny at 12 or 9 or 10, and he got his pants hanging down, and he coming in late after dark, we talk about it all the time, even on this show. When the street lights came on, we better be on our porch. But now I just saw about a couple months ago, a 16-year-old girl was killed in Louisville at 2:00 in the morning. And come to find out, her 10 or 11-year-old sister was out there and saw it. First of all, why are those kids outside that late at night?
Yeah.
Right.
We gotta, because we have to take control of that. Mama Joyce, when that street light came on, if she did not physically see me, I heard her, Pat Jr.
Right.
And wasn't nothing but dust coming out from the bottom of my shoes, getting around on that porch. So
Right.
we have to take responsibility as a community of the industry. And I agree with you, Brother Six, that the industry is controlling that, but that's because we don't have enough Denzel Washingtons and what's the lady that played anime, Eat the Cake anime? What's her name?
You talking Angela Bassett?
Angela Bassett. See, those two refuse to do certain roles.
Yeah. Well,
Because
on the community tip, man.
What would have happened if all the NFL or NBA players that had color said, "We're not playing until y'all stand up and do something about this"?
What if all rappers and entertainment said, I'm not doing any more things against my people until you change it? Yeah, yeah.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
But here's the thing. Here's the unfortunate part, though. And Six, I know, I think you wanted to jump in, so I'm gonna let you. You know, you better double dutch in this conversation, man.
Oh no, go ahead, brother.
All right. So what I've noticed is this. Is the unfortunate part is that when you have young people that are trying to get out of a particular community or
situation,
and so they're dealing with reality rap, so they're trying to do whatever they can, or they might have that look and they get somebody and they like, oh, you mean I ain't got to do this no more? I might have the opportunity to make money and do this and so forth. So I'm not necessarily mad at them. Where I think is the disconnect, and I think Six, you touched on this before, was that there was a time in radio where everything was being played, and so you were able to choose. Whereas now, and that's payola still, it was back then and it is now, but now it's more okay from a streaming platform, and what this is what's played, this is what's hot, this is the music, and so anything that's not that is not that. The other part though is that let's keep in mind that the majority of people that buy hip hop or buy rap music are not black people, not black and brown people. You see what I'm saying? Most of the people are from a dominant culture here in the United States. They don't look like us. So the irony is that the very people that buy the music don't live in those communities or never have anything. They can't even relate. They get to act out. You know what I'm saying? Those things in their communities and be hard because they listen to their music and talk that, have that little swagger. Whereas this is something that we live and we try to get out of, or we created, we try to do our own thing and make it pitch. But because they buy it, that's what the record companies are looking for. They like, this is what I want. You're not giving me this because this is what's selling. So it's not so much that black people are like, and here's the reason why I think that there's a resurgence of hip hop that's about to take place, and it started with the verses. And I'm gonna be honest, that Locks Dipset is going to be I'm telling you, it's going to be a key element, and the reason being is because those that watch it, Pat is not one. But those that like that type of music, especially because they both were from the golden age of hip hop. The golden age was in that 90s. It's a period of time that everybody knows was the golden age of hip hop. During that period of time, you had two different sets. One was a group, one was a crew. You got to see professionalism and people performing. You got to see lyricism. You got to see them connecting with their DJ, having routines, doing all this stuff. And there were a whole bunch of new artists that were in Madison Square Gardens that day seeing that, and they saw the reaction to people like, yo, that is what hip hop is. That's that. It ain't the gimmicks. It ain't the, you got the swag. This won. It was this against this, and that won. And I think that what I hope happens is that people like, yo, let's get back to the art form. Let's get back to being creative. Let's get back to being entertainment, and then we gotta ask ourselves, how do we want to police? Because it would be interesting if we did this. It would be interesting if black people said, I'm not about to talk bad about my little sister, Meg Thee Stallion, or Cardi B, or anything, because I know you out here just trying to make it. But my stand is not against you. My stand is against the industry that doesn't allow you to do. So I don't want to hear about WAP. I don't want to hear about Bees and anybody else that does that. And let's see if we stop patronizing and hip hop still grows and the money still sells, then we know it really ain't about us. It's about somebody else that controls that.
On the same tip, you look at and I like Southern rap. I like gangster rap. I like real music about the hood. So I'm one that grew up on the Scarface and the the things like that, and listen to that type of music. So you have those who are not going to support nothing but real life stuff. So it kind of divides us on what if some of the gangster rappers or some of those rappers who rap about what happened to them in real life. What if we said, we don't want to hear it that way? That you have those who's going to be like, no, man, I want to hear you tell your story and being true and being real. The industry steps in and says, oh, we ain't putting that out. You got to do that on yourself. You got to do that by yourself. And I think right there is what you're talking about is some of those who have the power to do that, to say, hey, you can put out what you want and I'll produce it. I'll have my own record company. We can come up with our own league. We can have our own justice system. We don't need them. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, there's something to do with it. I watched the interview with MC8 and he talked about how, he talked about how, when him and DJ Quick mended fences and they became cool. He said, but you still have fans now that want him to rhyme like he was back with Minister Society. And he's like, so it's some people that never want to grow. They never want to see you go. He's like, I don't rap about that. Like I got a son, like I got kids. I don't rap about the things that I did back then when I was young, because I was young. I don't do those things. So I grow. And so my content is going to be different. I can still keep it reality without, you know what I'm saying? And the problem is that within our own community, there's a segment in our community. And then there's a larger segment, which is industry control, that buys our music that only wants us to stay there. So it's like this.
I want to bring R&B.
Sure. What's that?
I want to bring R&B back.
You like R&B?
I like
grew up
R&B.
on Brothers Johnson.
R&B is not here no more. R&B is not here no more.
These young people, you go to a party, they don't even slow down.
They don't slow down no more.
But you know what?
They work every song.
We do our own version of a music battle. 6 has been on Thursdays, right? And
don't just say no 6 been on there.
You popped your head in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was on there.
Tone it down.
I even text you and told you I was on that list.
But just put it on treble, brother. Your bass is way up. Put a little bit of treble with it, please. I just want that. Please, thank you.
Quiet Storm. You talking about some Quiet Storm?
Yo, but we talked about. So we're supposed to be doing the 80s versus 2000s, right? In R&B. I was taking it, but then one of my guys, he just came on, so he's going to do it. And so as I was watching, we did the 70s versus 90s. So I watched and we were I looked at the 70s and I looked at the artists. Then I looked at the 80s, right? So as I was looking at the 70s and the 80s, it was interesting about that because no one talks about the 80s as much. You talk about the 70s, then you talk about 90s R&B and everything else. But in the 80s, it was interesting because the beginning, you still had that soulful music. You had the Luthers, the Freddies, Shirley Murdoch, all of these different artists. And then there was like 84, 85 time frame. So hip hop is starting to pick up a little more. Run DMC is doing that thing. Eric B is about to come out in 86, 85, 86. But then you got Mike Jack and Prince really taking off. You know what I'm saying? And so, watch this. They music was R&B music, but it became pop.
Yeah.
But what is pop? Pop is only popular music, but it became a new genre. So now the music itself started to shift and change a little bit.
That's how they did that. That's how they do it.
And so the soulful singers, you see them, but then there's a demarcation line, and then you start saying this, Pat, you stupid.
They had said sex sales. It was sex sales then. If it
And
started
then, no,
becoming
but
black sales, yeah.
huh? A demarcation line. Pat stupid. He clowned it. That Bacardi hitting the end. And so after that, you start seeing and then you see another one. You get Teddy Riley, like 88, 89, Guy, New Jack Swing, Boys to Men about to come in. Hip hop is about Dre and all of them about to, Cube, all of them is doing their thing. Then 90s hit. Then you got that mixture of R&B, rap, then that R&B, hip hop. You see what I'm saying? And then and then instruments and bands started to change. And I talked to my wife. I said, even when you look, but when you even get to the 90s, music still was long. Like now they into microwave. Like if it's got to be about a minute, 2 minutes, no more than 3.
Yeah.
Really about 2 something is a song. Whereas back in the day, the intro was 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Hell, I was listening to Just Be Good to Me by SOS Band. Hell, before they started singing, they would, it was a minute 2 in before, and they was going in grooving. You know what I'm saying? But it built up. So I wish that R&B would come back. But now it ain't even, in many ways, it's not even based on how you sound.
You can't even tell a love story, truthfully.
That what you said as you walked us through the genres of music from the 70s up, if you really think about it, people started changing too during those times. The people started changing, the groups of people that were listening to it and expecting. So there was a lot of change going on through each one of those decades, with not only the music, the genre, the type of music, but the people also. Which,
I agree.
Back all of this to say that we're kind of in agreement, all 3 of us said. And oh, by the way, for those that are listening or watching, this is one of the first times, and maybe even the only times, that we all are agreeing in something.
There's no sense of arguing about something that we
live in it.
We know the positive impacts. I'm gonna tell you, KRS-One taught me how to read the Bible in a different way. I don't know, y'all remember the why is that? When he said the day begins with a grin and a prayer to excuse my sins. I can walk anywhere I choose because everyone listens to the BDP crew. We're not here for glamour or fashion. But here's the question I'm asking. Why is it young black kids are taught white? They only taught how to read, write, and act. It's like teaching a dog to be a cat. You don't teach white kids to be black. Why is that? Is that because they're the minority? Well, black kids, follow me. Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man from Africa. If you repeat this line, you can't rap. Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. So I'm sitting here listening to him like, man, I've been in church all my life and I ain't never heard nobody tell me that Shem or Abraham was black. Like, wait a minute, what book is he looking at? I immediately went to the book. The Bible was like, what? What is he talking about? So I know what hip hop can do.
Right.
I know what hip hop did for me. You know what I'm saying?
Look at this dramatic change. If you all remember this dramatic change, and this is one that devastated the whole game. 1985, he said, you see that piece of shit up there? I never liked him. I never trusted him. For all I know, he had me set up and my friend Fernandez killed. That's Scarface. Who put this together? Me. That's who. That picture changed the whole game when it came to dope, music, and everything.
I'm gonna give you another fact. Go ahead. I've never watched Scarface all the way through. Hood fact. Never. And not interested in watching it. I know parts of it.
Back then.
But it ain't a black person alive that don't quote that, especially, and you're right, that was one of those demarcation lines.
That devastated our hood, man.
But that's when crack was introduced.
That's when that's how it was done. That's how it was done. I give you another one. Man, I told him, come on down, we'll rap a taste on it. Yeah, he can't come over to the house. See, them niggas wanted the honey. All I want is the money. That was Superfly. Teaching you how to be a pimp. Calling them hoes, black and bitches. Changed the whole game, man.
Yeah.
This was put in motion way back then. And look at us now. What we calling them? What are them young? They get 2 minutes to talk about an R&B song.
Yo, y'all remember?
Can't happen, man.
Y'all remember in the early '90s when everybody was wearing the HBCU joints, like Different World and stuff was on, and rap, and everybody was wearing that, and so people remember there was a period of time, and this is what I love even about those that rap and had some reality rap that we consider against whatever. They had that element of studying. Like whether you was in the nation, whether you was in the nation of God's and earth, whether you was in the Islamic Hebrew at that time or whatever you were, you had to do the knowledge and you had to study. Yeah. And there were periods of time where it was important to be smart. Like, so if you didn't know your lessons and you called yourself a 5% of the nation of God's and earth and you represented that and somebody stepped to you, it's the same way that if you had on that necklace from time to time that brother Pat has on, and you really wasn't about that, there's repercussions to it.
Yeah, you got
because you needed to be studying. So they put that in their rhyme, they read. Whether they graduated from school or not, they were readers. They listened. They built on certain things, and it was dope to be that. Then it became I don't know when it happened. But it got to a point where it was like, it ain't cool to be smart.
Right. That's when they put the West Coast against the East Coast and the South against the North. They did that.
I asked one of these brothers on this podcast, and I ain't gonna say no names, but he got a number behind his name. And I said, man, help me, get this fit together. We going out, This brother took me to Indiana.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Short with some orange and blue and checkered shirt and some orange Nikes. I look like Homie the Clown. And I think back on those days and thought I was sharp too.
You was Cincinnati sharp.
I remember my red, black, and green outfit.
Yeah. So then it leads us into maybe another podcast that we might have to.
I see the light.
Safe.
Just to put something on your brother's mind,
That missed that one.
What?
He missed that whole thing. Six said, "I see the light." I said, "Safe." You remember that in the military, you had to. I see the light. Safe.
So, but what it comes back to, and it touches on other podcasts we have. What can we do? We got to start somewhere, and I don't mean that literally, and as the three of us, I mean as a community, as aging adults in an American of African descent community. What can we do to start getting it back, to corral and pointing the fingers at these young folks, these old folks, to start bringing it back?
Well,
because we all lovers of hip hop and music.
On that, I'm gonna say.
Mike made a comment earlier, because I'm not a studier or avid listener to hip hop, but I love it. And I can't help it with Brother Six. There where we go, he listens to hip hop, so I like it. Right. But I like R&B better.
Yeah.
Right.
The gospel the best. But.
Well, I would say, man, that it is going to take a community to even agree upon something. And just like I was saying to the listeners at the beginning of this podcast, tell somebody, because, man, each one teach one. And I'm saying all that to say that one way that we can start fixing it can become, and it could start with us three, and that's by becoming more thinkers, instead of acting all the time, man. We need to become thinkers, because that's what Mike was talking about. Back then, man, we was thinkers. And back then, we showed our true creative skills, because we are creators also. We built all this. We put all this together. And if you think about it, the only way to getting back to that is what we were back then. And that was, we were unified. So I want to say to all the listeners out there, man, I appreciate you brothers, man, for being on the podcast tonight. I did see the lights come on, and everybody knows on this podcast, that means we got to get back to the port. But before we leave, I do want to give a shout out to all those people there in Louisville and to my two brothers here. I just think that the only way we're going to even begin to fix the problem would be with ourselves and looking in the mirror and saying, hey, I must make a change. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe, I want to say, as I close, that I wholeheartedly believe you, because you said begin. You were serious about that beginning, but hey, I'm ready to start right now. Sign me. I got my right here ready.
Oh my God!
Hey,
You making your plan?
I've been riding these brothers out. I've been jonesing on these brothers for 40 years, but I just want to say I appreciate everybody that joined in with us, and hit us up with a comment. We have these conversations, but we love feedback and we love to talk about it. If it's something that you want to hear or you want to further discuss with us, even if you don't agree with us, we want to hear about it. We want to talk about it, because to me, that's where it begins. It begins with a healthy conversation through adults. And
well said.
3 of us, and then a few of our dedicated listeners, your comments, maybe even come on the show. We can discuss it like grown-ups, and we can start getting this ball rolling. But in the meantime, the between time, I just want to say, rest in peace to my brother, Big Reggie, because I didn't give a shout out to him. Fat Blood, we love you. We still miss you. Shout out to his family. And once again,
one time,
we
love y'all.
You two brothers.
Indeed, indeed. So closing it out, as they say in the Circle 7, time was when man was not. It's each one to teach one, really. So I agree with both of y'all. At the end of the day, it's going to, we are smart thinking human beings. At least I want to believe that we are, and I think that it's time for us to stop. It's time to activate that godliness, that God force within us, and stop saying that it's this entity or whatever. We can control what we can control. But we also have to be honest about whether or not we want to hold different standards to our folks that we don't put on anything else, and whether or not we are telling people, in order to be this, you need to have lived this before we actually listen to your music or believe you or want to buy your stuff. We got to change our mentality. And that's going to take us, as like you said, Pat, as elders, to kind of not only listen to the young people, but then help kind of guide them through, this destructive, and just say, it's all right to story tell. You just don't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? To do, you don't have to live it in order for it to take effect on us and tell the story in a beautiful way. And we can still buy it and just take it for entertainment value and then leave it alone and not try to live that out. But it's always good to talk to you, brothers. It's always good to be in your presence. A shout out to, like, again, all our viewers. We it's a slow cook. We like a pot roast in a slow cooker. We on slow. You know what I'm saying? But it's a beautiful aroma that's going on. And we hope that as we continue to grow, our viewership, our subscriptions will continue to grow, and that we will get onto a platform where we can touch more than those that are listening. Always a shout out to the fourth member of this collective, Big Reg. Happy born day to that brother. Love him dearly. Peace to his family. With that, y'all know what time it is.
Yes, sir. It is one time.
Time is down, and the week is new, and I have more ideas for you. And you have things you want to talk about. We shall too. See you later.
All right, one.